Well, we'll get into game number 2 here. Picks and bans for SSGG. First on the left, that means they got the first pick and the first ban. Of course, CryptiK opting for the first one last time around. SSGG will take care of the King Arthur, so no Arthur ban, or no Arthur being played this game. And CryptiK across the way, gonna look for their ban as well.
I would anticipate it to maybe be priority bans towards Xbalanque and Freyo, or Xbalanque and the Merlin. I think that CryptiK are definitely in the right, though, for keeping that Xbalanque locked away. If Spacestation Gold are in the first pick position, then you don't want to give them a freebie for a team fight.
Freya going to be banned here by Spacestation Gaming Gold, and the last ban coming out from Team CryptiK should be coming out soon. It will be the Achilles. The Achilles is what Uzzy looked really good on, so strip that away. I like that choice. That will leave Merlin open, and it will be the pick likely for Chapo in the mid lane.
No hesitation for Chapo. He loves his Merlin gameplay. Surprised to see it make its way into Spacestation Gold's composition, but I know that they're going to be pretty happy with that one. Last time we saw CryptiK actually first picking Bacchus when they were in the driver's seat for the draft, but as a response pick, they chose not to go for the Bacchus. They wanted the Terra instead. I do think that Terra might have better lockdown potential for this Merlin in comparison to the Bacchus.
And Zearoe just played it fantastically. No deaths on the solo lane Terra last game around, so we'll see if this is going to be the same thing. Susano for the jungle here for Team CryptiK. Meanwhile, back on the clock is Spacestation, and they'll go ahead and get Bacchus, likely for the support role. And then one more will be the choice of Artio. So a couple of good, strong choices here for SSGG. I know that Uzzy does love his Artio. We'll see if he will be the pilot.
I feel like Artio is a pretty heavily contested pick between Mattypocket and Uzzy, but I'm right there with you. Would definitely prefer to see this Artio up against that Terra in the solo lane. CryptiK could opt to move this Terra from solo, though, for Zearoe and give it to Mineral instead because of the Artio selection. But as to whether or not they want to make that type of adjustment throughout their comp, Zearoe might not feel that threatened by the Artio alone. And without Spacestation Gold having revealed their jungler just yet, I almost can't blame him, because Artio, yeah, she can control the Terra, but that doesn't necessarily mean she can kill her. And as long as Terra isn't dying throughout that laning phase, she's still going to be able to provide a lot of important team fighting assets.
Second round of bans coming out here. Xingwei going to be the ban by Team CryptiK. Spacestation Gold, take away the Ganesh. Over there's the Pele one more time, and then, so the last one, another Guardian perhaps, as Terra unconvinced in the support role.
Could always choose to ban a hunter, like a safety pick hunter, like the Hachiman, or Spacestation Gold could just choose to eliminate the Ares. I'm not convinced that this Terra is for the support role, and I don't blame him, because I don't think it is intended for support role either.
Ares, big damage, big control as well, going to be banned out. Here comes Cernunnos, and he'll be the hunter of choice for Team CryptiK. Terra short side, Susano jungle, Soul mid, Cernunnos in the hands of the hunter carry. And with Spacestation Gaming Gold, they've got Merlin mid, Kali in the jungle. That'll be an interesting one for sure.
That is some spice for Mass, though. I'm really excited to see what Mass is going to be able to do on this Kali. This is a pick where Spacestation Gold are going to take the games late like they did in game number 1. Kali's your girl that you want to have in your corner, because she just has so much shred capability into the late game. But this isn't an easy lineup for a Kali to be headed towards. I think it's the Terra and the Susano that are going to cause the most issues.
The Zhong is nice as well. Kali is going to be building into those chin sai and cuts right on through Zhong. Zhong into Kali isn't exactly counter-picking yourself, but Kali is a character that can excel against Zhong. Spacestation Gaming Gold looking to force us to a game number 3. Let's jump into it. We've got the caster standing by. Ready, set, go.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Taco. Finch and Aggro still here. And Mattypocket actually on the Bacchus this time, no matter how much I tried to put him on it last game. He's playing it this time.
Here he is.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to worry about it. Whoa, is that Zhong? I don't think I've ever seen Zhong's red.
That's not a mastery skin, right?
It is.
No, it isn't.
Because they go red-blue for which side you're on. This is his...
Oh, do they do that?
Yeah. Well, in Spectator they do.
Oh, that's awesome.
On
this is sick.
Zearoe's screen it'll be blue, but it looks way better in red.
Yeah, that's actually sick. I want that. I want that.
Oh, no. This is the open of a Reddit thread.
2v2 in the duo lane, as Aggro worries about Reddit for some unexplainable reason. We're getting a lot of mastery skins showing off. Look like the diamond there for Oswaald on the Hachiman. Glad he's looking his style here in game number 1 so far.
Hoping then he can do a little bit better on this selection than the Jingwei. But I think this is the right style of pick for the way that Spacestation like to play. They like to play all in a lot of the time and really get their hands dirty, and Hachiman does that pretty well. He can really join those frays very easily, as well as add in with the not just the mounted archery, but an aggressive EI jutsu here and there can really turn a fight.
I've said it before, Spacestation are the team that I think if Plan A works, they're really hard to beat. But if you make them do even like Plan A2 or anything, like anything off of that, is when I've seen them have some struggles. So that definitely adds up with what we're saying. But you know, I'll take the blame on this. I feel like we're bearing the lead. This Zhong in the solo lane. How do you like this over here? As Mineral's actually in a good deal of trouble. Those body blocks are real nice from Matty. EI Jutsu stun comes through, so Benny has to use the horn charge just to try and deter them. He's now juking around inside the minions, but that's time for the wall to come back up. A root lands onto Oswaald as well, but BennyQ will fall. Matty finds first blood.
Easy for Matty, man. 20 HP or so. Yeah, you said that Benny needs to use the horn charge. I don't know if I agree with that phrasing. Just ended up doing it. And now Oswald's trying to get a little bit more Mineral. Beautiful bait from him. Chases out that EI Jutsu. Cope was lurking that entire time and puts CryptiK back on the board.
I can't believe I didn't stun him, the EI Jutsu. I think it would have been enough had it done that, but unfortunately it wasn't there. Benny makes it out. That was a good job, trusting Cope to come in and clean up there for him. But you're right, that skirmish in duo lane, that felt like hard-headedness from both parties. And it has to go one of their way eventually. So it did. But I don't think either team had a clear enough advantage that it made sense why they were in that fight.
It was a good body blocks by Mattypocket. I think the Mineral just ended up dashing the wave without respecting the horrific emblem on the other side, and that's really what got him in trouble. So good fight. I think Oswaald probably dashes in a little bit too early because there was still so much of the minion wave there that Mineral just has so many opportunities to juke in and out and just not get hit by anything from that position. Doesn't have to worry about the auto attacks because the minions will really absorb those for him.
Mineral takes a good bit of poke, but everything should be A-okay. In fact, it's Team CryptiK who are coming down and stealing away the jungle, despite the fact that they're the ones that took the earlier spill not too long ago. They'll take this back a little bit of help from Cope, though, and try and grab some farm in their name. In fact, looks like they recognize that he was there. Mattypocket gets pulled back in, and that's another kill going the way of CryptiK. This one goes to Mineral.
Did Matty jump the wave?
He sure didn't have it, yeah.
He must have, because, yeah, he didn't seem to have it, and that was a clean commit in from CryptiK as if he didn't have it. So good response here from Mask. You see the pressure in the duo side, head right back over to the right side. You know you can't get anything on the left. They've already taken it all, so at least get something for yourselves. The blue buff, the XP harpies, but you just won't be able to match the value of 2 buffs and a kill. And that's why we've seen a lot of pressure in duo lane leading up to this new meta that's kind of developed where we're seeing not a lot of pressure in duo lane is a kind of a counter option. It's like the political scale, Finch. Usually it goes heavy on one side, and then in order to return, it goes heavy on the other, and it's just a constant back and forth. By fall, Hunters will be crying yet again that they're getting ganked, and all their buffs are getting invaded. It's only a matter of time.
Well, this is what we're complaining about. What do you do when the jungler comes over? They just win. They just win the lane now because they decided on CryptiK to have their jungler sit over here twice in a row. And what do we do about it?
Well, did you dash in to try and kill a support when jungler could have been there?
Not me.
In this theoretical
well, yes,
scenario,
in this universe, yes, I did. Yes.
Then there's something you could have done.
I suppose so.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of saying there's nothing I could have done when there was definitely something I could have done. And I feel like you are too a fan because you just did it.
I love it. It's a strong thing to say as Mass might be in some trouble. He has already blinked in, but still has the ultimate, jumps in place, which should spell the end of his life. Sops cleans that one up without too much trouble. It's the soul that gets credit. But Cope not done. He's chasing down Chapo. Not quite enough damage from the tick, though. And now it's Sops who needs some backup. Mattypocket wants to guarantee this kill, and the Jug gets it done.
Nice and easy for him. Oswaald does get finished off, but Matty intoxicate right on time. Uzzy making a big rotation all the way from solo lane. BennyQ just needs one more auto, but just can't find it, or the Bramble Blast. Actually, he needed 2 because he did find 1, but a great rotation in from Uzzy, who's had pressure in solo lane most of this game, ends up coming in and impacting a red buff skirmish just 5 minutes in.
And who jukes that way? Works for Matty as he gets on out of there and avoids the Bramble Blast and the autos.
I get it.
Thank you.
Because Taco always says it.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Nicely done.
Avoids the Cernunnos damage. But that was another one. I mean, CryptiK have been, not CryptiK this time, but CryptiK have been heavily engaging on this duo side of the map, and now we see them aggressing right around that red buff, and they very nearly get the kill. But it felt like Mass started that one for me, right? He blinks in, even jumps in place.
Yeah, I don't know about that part.
And he didn't find much at all.
Yeah, the jump in place is really what hurt him, and now he's going to be hurt because Cope just saw him use that leap. No Typhoon, and so Mass is A-okay. But you could already see the lack of communication coming into play again, though, between Mask and Chapo, because Chapo would just use all his buttons, and then Mask insta-blinks in and stuns, and Cope has no beads. It's a great opportunity. If Chapo has any damage in that position, Cope dies, but there needs to be some communication. Hey, I'm blinking here. Don't. I've got no cooldowns. Wait 3 seconds or whatever it is. Let me change stance, and then I'm good to go. There needs to be some preamble to going in. It's I played with a support once. It wasn't Brochacho, and I'm not going to say who it was, but they would always go, I'm taunting, as the taunt is halfway completed. And it drove me crazy.
It's too late now.
You saying this does not help me. And it was a big point to get him to say he's doing anything at all. And then he was very mad when he was like, well, now I'm saying it, and you still don't like it. And I'm like, well, that's because you're not saying it at the right time. Hey, Finch,
Go ahead.
I crashed into your car earlier.
Aha.
Does it help you now?
Not at all.
Nope.
Maybe if I track down your license plate number, turn that in as well, and actually figure out who it was, and still that's not enough.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say, hey Finch,
Go ahead,
I'm gonna eat any food that gets put in the refrigerator, and you've already put some food in the refrigerator, and I've already eaten it.
Okay.
So me telling you that doesn't help you at this point.
No, it
you
sure
would have
doesn't.
needed that information before you put the food in the
Exactly
refrigerator.
right, yes.
I'm taunting.
I was just trying to say that you got hit and run.
Oh, I wasn't a hit and run. Yeah, and then I got screwed by it.
Yeah, I was just trying to point
I'm
that
very
out. 'Cause I know you like
I'm very
when I bring
not
that up.
salty about it, by the way.
Very
I'm
over
totally,
it.
I'm
Extremely
totally cool
over
with it. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought it up. I love talking about how great of an experience that was for me. Hey, folks, if you hit someone with your car, like not a person, well, this too, I suppose, but if you hit someone else's car with your car, stop.
Own up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't. Okay. I'm
Cause
good.
a lot of trouble for other people. But that's in the past. It's
That's right.
It is done.
Just like
That money
the
will
CC.
come back one day. Just like
That's not how that works.
The universe is cyclical.
right.
We hope.
The balance.
Right. The world's fair. This game also has been fair so far. If you jump in
Fairly
place,
good.
yeah, if you jump in place, you get punished. You know what? It has been fair. If your escapes have been used in the wrong spot, people have been punished so far. The horn charge, the jumps in place, the jumps in middle lane, they've been getting punished.
They have been. That's very true.
That's some fairness.
It's been everything is balanced right now in this Smite game, at least for a little bit. Eventually, that balance will be interrupted because Mask is going to hit 6-item Kali, and nothing
goodness.
feels balanced about that one.
Not at all. Well, the balance that you're supposed to do something now. And
Yes.
right now, CryptiK are doing a lot of not that much. So we'll see if they try and engage. They are moving over to the blue buff invade, so this is exactly the kind of stuff they need. Uzzy gets pulled back in, and immediately Zearoe drops the ultimate. They blow Uzzy up first, and now Mass in some trouble. Cope only has to juke for a moment, and Zearoe keeps him alive. Easy for Cope. A double kill for the Zhong.
Man, if that was Mass target, then that's a real feels bad from that position that he ends up just one auto attack short of killing Cope. But Uzzy just takes so much damage immediately, and that's the fact that he has to go Genji's guard, or basically magical defense, up against Zearoe in lane. That opens up Cope for easy ganks on that side of the map. I mean, just the 3-1 combo, half-healthed Uzzy, and then a slow telegraphed dash like Artio, it just has no chance to get out of range of that wind siphon.
Exactly. Even Zearoe has potential to catch it as well. We've seen Artio's interrupted before by it, so certainly that potential's there. But we never really got a chance, I feel like, to talk much about this Zhong Kui solo and what Uzzy wants, or what Zearoe wants. Is that because he's against like the Artio, he knows there's no warrior to pressure him out? Or why is this being pulled in now?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Zero's been playing very aggressively in the solo lane all year, so this kind of fits that same style.
Uzzy, though, wants to try and keep this battle going. Let's try it again. And Cope does not want to keep this one going, but look how fast Mast is running him down. Cope has very little chance of getting out, but jukes his way out. And now, with Mineral here, As long as they play this properly, he's safe, but Mask jumps in, and Cope goes down. Chapo, not to be outdone, finds Zearoe, and that's 2 in response for Spacestation.
Yeah, I don't know about that ultimate there for Mineral. I think he realized as well that that was a bit of a wasted cooldown from that spot. Maybe drop a 2, drop a 3, try and root him. Something like that may have worked out a little bit better for him. But in the end, Mask gets his kill on Cope, who was his target, because that's who just killed him. And
was
ends
there
up
pressure in mid Cope was worried about? Because he initially pathed towards mid, but changed his mind and doubled back.
Maybe he was probably trying to juke the 2, which can of course go through walls, but yeah, it didn't end up mattering. You're right. I think the pathing a little bit odd, but you kind of just got to take some risks in that spot.
Yes.
I still think Mineral, if he walks towards mid and then Mineral drops the 2 just to block off that pathway, maybe that's enough to get him out. Lots of shoulda, woulda, couldas.
I mean, it might have been a juke. They always look great when the jump actually comes out and you avoid it. So maybe Mass was trying to bait that way and jump back, or excuse me, Cope wasn't, hoping Mass would jump, and just Mass held it, and it didn't actually end up working out. So, you know, sometimes the jukes look funny when nothing happens. Maybe that's what it is.
Straight lining underrated. Can I say that?
I think so. The no juke.
Yeah, you just sometimes they really expect you to juke, and then you just keep on running.
Here's the thing that a straight line does for you that a juke does not.
What does it do?
It gets you where you're going in the least amount of time, which I think can often be good.
Yeah, especially when like they're gonna have to hit something max range anyways.
Right.
If you just keep on running. Not that Cope could have there in my mind, because there's so much extra movement speed from Mass Hasten Katana that he wouldn't have been able to
zooming.
outrun that extra bit, but would have been close.
Zearoe now in trouble. This is exactly where Mass wants to be. A nice stun lets you get off a couple of ticks, but there's not really many options for the Zhong Kui. Mass now 2 kills to his name to match up with those 2 deaths, and suddenly this Kali is starting to get scary. This is still even a little bit sooner than we normally see Kalis have a good time, and so far Mask has found a couple isolated targets. That should spell Pyromancer for the boys as well.
Mask lurking. You know speed buff's coming up. Sops now sees him, so yeah, Mask will end up giving up that chase. I think there is a bit of a misconception that Kali is complete trash in the early game, and I really don't think she is. She's just complete trash at what she's really good at in the late game. She really transitions pretty heavily. In the early game, she's all centered around burst damage off the 2, where you get this big power boost off hitting Incense, and then you hit the 2, and it does a lot of damage. And then she's not very good at auto-attacking you from that position. In the late game, she barely does anything with the 2. It's all about stun into auto attacks, and that's how you kill everybody. And so she feels really bad because you're just expecting her to do what she's doing very well in the late game. But that's really not the case. Kali can do pretty good work in the early game just by way of that stun into 2.
There's no point where I feel comfortable being isolated by a Kali at any point in the game, so that's tough for Zearoe because he was more than isolated. There were 2 members there to make it hard. BennyQ just hitting more autos there, and that'll do it. Oswaald losing the trade so far. It looks like he's in this Frost Dance as BennyQ, but he's not in... He doesn't have the rune for it that you sometimes see, but this could be a bait. Benny might not recognize that Mast is on his way. He certainly does it. Perfect dash, though. Gets away from the stun, and he has help coming. Aegis buys him some time. Wild Hunt his feet, and Mast has to go.
Good patience from Mask. Mattypocket now going to leap in. That is not exactly where you want to be in the midst of literally 5 people. Shell used by CryptiK as insurance, but insurance doesn't do him a whole lot of good, just like when you get hit and run.
Extremely over that voice, by the way. Gold Fury
Can't you tell?
now under siege by Team CryptiK. Uzzy's nearby, so is Chapo. Remember, it's a man down for Spacestation. That's why CryptiK feel comfortable forcing the fight. But a big stun from Mass starts everything off. The blizzard damage there is there too, and Mass finds Mineral first, but that wasn't his target. The leap doesn't land, and that means Mass goes down. Oswaald does clean up the kill, but that could have been so much worse. But Chapo pulls one back in and completes the killing spree. He's in a good spot with plenty of HP, trying to punish Cope, who actually blinks at him, closes the gap, baits out the abilities, but can't find the kill.
Needs a little bit more damage, and I just don't think he's going to get it from that spot.
Unfortunate.
You hate to see it. Chapo just finishes off. An easy kill, it feels like. Anything but really. In reality, a deicide right as Mineral respawns. And that Mask nearly wins that. He basically still wins that team fight single-handedly.
Yes,
for
I think
Spacestation
just the
gold.
stun did it, really.
But could have really won the game potentially from that position if he finds that health reset. Zearoe was the target, but just managed to get out of range. A bit unlucky there for Mask, but good job by Chapo to finish up a couple kills. Oswaald as well was able to get the killing blow onto Zearoe. I think people are underestimating, though, the one thing about Merlin, when Copebby dashed in onto Chapo, teleported in on the Wind Siphon, if Chapo just insta-change stances there,
yes,
that's your most immediate damage. Everything else that you have, especially in Arcane stance, is super slow. Your immediate damage is using that ultimate, especially when you're already in Arcane, you're leading into a knockup. If he transforms into fire, you apply that dot damage. I think Cope dies from that alone. Something to watch out for against Merlin and playing as Merlin is, don't forget that change stance does not just a little bit of damage, but relevant damage and relevant CC.
It's very strong, and it would have. You don't even have to aim it in that situation where Susano
Sure do not.
kind of blinks in. It's all around you, so certainly would be nice. We saw one of Merlin's other strengths, which is in that fire stance. He certainly chunks these objectives. I mean specifically like Gold Furies and Fire Giants, and he helped burn that down in favor of his squad. And now Spacestation, with their first real lead, not just of the game, but of the set, about 3,000 or so, really 4,000 gold out in front, 5,400 experience as well. And they've just got to hold on to this lead because remember, they already have the ace in the hole of this Kali. If they can get to that point in this game, they're feeling real good.
Take a look at the net worth charts in the bottom left. That is the entirety of Spacestation gold. And then Team CryptiK. Mattypocket has more gold than the highest member of CryptiK, which is BennyQ. Not by much, but it illustrates the point pretty well that Spacestation gold as a unit are pretty far ahead.
Yes, they absolutely are at this point. Experience, you can tell, too. About a level or two everywhere except for the Hunter role, where BennyQ is a good bit out in front of Oswaald. That's probably part of why he's right there with Matty in terms of the net worth as well. And feeling comfortable. The build's fairly standard, at least for them. They went Devil Gloves, Boots, Executioner, very likely Kins, or the like coming through next. So everything there is about what we would have expected, but Zearoe might be in some trouble. Blink right into the stun, and all the while Mass was waiting. He had a stun of his own, but had some trouble closing the gap.
Ended up missing. Now Cope gonna blink in right after Mask. Mask has destruction. He's gonna use it and immediately hit the gas pedal onto Cope, who dashes away very intelligently. It won't matter though. Uzzy able to finish off what he and Mask started.
Keeps up the chase, but now he has 3 members of Team CryptiK steering him down. But he's A-okay. He's got some backup of his own, and CryptiK have to fall back. That tower's on its last leg too. If they want to force it down, it's an option. But I think Pyromancer might be an even better option. They send Oswaald over to clean that one up. But the whole while, BennyQ's threatening the Tier 1 tower over in duo. He'll get some much-needed farm to himself.
He's got that Tier 1. He's threatening Tier 2 from this spot. Uzzy has teleport, and he needs to use it now. I don't know. All CryptiK has to do is interrupt that teleport channel. Looks like no one will get in range in time, so BennyQ still gets half health on that Tier 2 tower. A bit of a late teleport there. I think Uzzy should have recognized that that was a potential. As soon as you see him on that wave, push into the Tier 2 after he clears the Tier 1, you need to be ready to teleport from there.
They do at least grab the Pyromancer in answer, so not too bad overall, but that Tier 2 and left, if it's after a fight, or ordinarily that might be a difficult grab, it could be much easier now potentially for Team CryptiK to burn that one down in the heat of battle, so they'll keep their eyes on it. As I've been impressed with the play from Uzzy, not just in this game, but in this set so far. Game 1, he looked very strong here on this Artio. He looks good yet again. Into this Zhong, he's not let Zearoe have a free lane and get to a comfortable point. He's been great.
I completely agree with you. He has been impressive thus far, and now 2-1-6. Remember that Gold Fury fight, the reason that Mask gets such a massive stun off is because Uzzy had already dashed in and kind of pulled the attention of everyone from CryptiK, and they had tried to collapse around him and ended up getting punished for it very nicely. So that was, I really think that Uzzy and Mask have shown the most synergy of any two players on this team.
I think so too.
Far.
Yeah, they've looked good as a pair.
Yeah.
And they've been fighting together. They were the ones I think that kind of kept Game 1 as close as it was for the most part. There were clearly a couple of times where things were off the rails, but they look good.
They've looked better than I think the rest of Spacestation Gold has when it comes to teamwork so far. And there's really no doubting the individual skill of guys like Mask and Chapo, but you really have to work better as a unit if you want to win games at this level, and that's been the question mark for this team throughout the year.
I agree. It's the only thing that slowed them down. Even Chapo 4-0-3, quite impressive this game. It has been done on what's felt like largely an individual level, like coming in and cleaning up the kills. So still, a little bit for them to work on, obviously, but when you're seeing them do things well, you love to see it, and that's what's happening here for Chapo. 4-0-3 on this Merlin. They have multiple scary things on this team right now. It's Chapo working towards this even more frightening late game. Mask, obviously, getting worse and worse. He already has the Kins finished and the Hasten Katana. He feels like he's already at a really good point. That's only going to get worse. You have an Artio constantly threatening you, and eventually Oswaald will be scary too. This is not going to get any easier for CryptiK.
No, it doesn't feel that way, but eventually Mask is going to need some more pen than just Brawler's Beat Stick. I mean, Zearoe is going to build a Midgardian mail, I would hope, in that slot. They're going to need a little bit of help to burn through that. Unlike this Oni Fury, which is gone already, by the way.
And they're looking for the fight on the back end. Minerals locked down inside that cripple field, but in aggressively goes Cope. He looks right for Matty. Might not be the best target. Mask goes right to the back line. Oswaald finds Sop. Mask gets his reset. Oswaald gets Mineral. BennyQ is the target. He goes down too. Mattypocket gets that kill. And just like that, 4 go down for Spacestation. The waterfall comes through and CryptiK on the back foot.
I don't know what happened to Sops, but he got insta-killed because he has Relics and Ultimate up. Didn't get any of it off. And Mask just kind of blinked in and casually murdered the entire enemy team. Doesn't have to worry about the lack of pen yet because it was only Steel Mail 1 for Zearoe. The same can be said for Mineral. So that chin size isn't getting mitigated nearly enough, and Mask just went to work. It was an all-you-can-eat buffet.
And Zearoe has to be very careful not to end up falling here as well. Fortunate to get knocked up, and Mask actually going to be blown up. Nice job from Zearoe in the 1v2 to at least find Mask, but the rest of the team does get the Fire Giant on the back end, so not too bad. Though you don't like to gift away any kills if you can avoid it.
Especially not getting a Fire Giant on your colleague.
That's true, she doesn't get the Fire Giant.
Wiped a fight pretty individually. Not the best decision-making moment there for Mask, is what I would say.
Still, though, a good bit ahead of Cope, who's had some struggles this game on the Susano. And I don't know if it's just having trouble getting in. I mean, you don't want to be close to Merlin. We already talked about that. Merlin kind of lives there, especially when he's in fire stance, so that could sometimes be tough. Why is Cope having such a hard time here this game?
I think it's the Artio. Uzzy's cripple field. I mean, if he gets in the middle of the team fight and that cripple field's out, what is Susano doing from that position? And even the Magi's cloak that he has now isn't going to stop that. That only gets popped on hard CC, which cripple is not. So it doesn't get a lot easier for him from this position. Uzzy's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think Sops wins this. I don't think he does.
He just 2/3 helped them and took nothing.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Sops. Let me know if you want to go again.
Get out of here, geek.
Oh, man.
Such a good insult.
That's good. I've been feeling dweeb lately.
Dweeb's not bad. For a dweeb.
It really just feels like you're looking down on him verbally.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Tier
Well,
2
punching
tower.
down is something that we're pretty known for here, so.
Not a fan of it personally, but we do it a lot, yes. Yeah. Tier 2 tower and left goes down. Tier 2 tower and mid. That'll be next up on the menu. But Team CryptiK are here to fight this. They're down about 11,000, so the fights aren't going to get any better if they just let this one pass them by. Sops puts in a good stellar burst. Matty is low, but that's Supernova committed onto the support. I don't know if that's exactly what they wanted. Typhoon comes through as well, and Matty is quite low. Cope does clean him up, so this is actually not a bad fight at all. In fact, Uzzy also in some trouble somehow. CryptiK heavily committing under the tier 2 have turned this around.
They do it somehow because Mask just wasn't there. He was pushing on the right-hand side, and I think Matty just goes a little bit too deep in order to try and zone away, which is a fight that should have been just play patient. We don't have Mask. You don't have your level 20 5-item collie. You shouldn't really be fighting from that position. I think it was a bit of a miscommunication again from Spacestation Gold. Stop me if you've heard that one before.
I would have. And Uzzy and Matty go down, but they still get essentially what it is they want. The tier 2 tower in middle goes down. A ton of farm from Mast over there and right as he pushes that wave up as well. Even grab the Pyros that can get right back in here to be around this Fire Giant pit. But it's yet again, it's what feels like an unnecessary injury, right? It feels like Spacestation put barriers in their own way sometimes that weren't there in the first place. So they kind of make these wins harder for themselves sometimes.
You just used an awful lot of words to say they make a lot of mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes.
Sure. Yes.
It's a much nicer way than the way I said it, and that's why you use a lot of words, because it sounds a lot nicer.
Right.
They're still making a lot of mistakes that they probably shouldn't for playing at this level, and that's what I think has cost them some set victories, even when they're playing well, is silly mistakes like that, and hopefully as the season continues, they make less of those.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the leg weights are still on. Take them off, Rock Lee. and let him know. As BennyQ is learning what a colleague can do. Into the destruction he goes, and he finds BennyQ, but can he find much more? Sops at least gets masked and trade. It's 1-for-1, but a nice knock-up comes through from Mattypocket. Uzzy gets Zearoe. Cope in some trouble as well on the left-hand side, but able to dash away. Sops and Mineral both make it out with barely any HP, but with just those 3 alive, this should be a nice opportunity for Spacestation.
Yeah, Mass set up a great fight there for Spacestation, and good identification from Spacestation that, well, he wouldn't chase them all the way to their Titan, would he? And, well, yeah, he probably would. We should probably get there as soon as possible.
Right.
And they get on the horse, literally in Oswaald's case, and make sure that they can get to help their jungler, who's going to be playing very aggressively, and it's the right call. That is, in my mind, that was not a mistake from Mask. That's understanding what your character can do at this point in the game and trusting in your teammates that they're going to be there to help me should that continue. And if this is week 1, I think Mask kills BennyQ and gets insta-killed, and the rest of Spacestation Gold is on the objective, on the Gold Fury. Now, later on in the year, we're starting to see them understand each other's play styles and understand that Mask is in, so he's in. He's not leaving.
That tier 2 tower in left went down just now, and I know this is very different what you were just speaking on.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's just because the teleport's a bit late getting there. It was at half HP and the minion just got on their own.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it falls otherwise. Well, that was a pretty big minion wave, so maybe.
It was close.
But there's lots of little things that will end up coming back to haunt you in games like this. And not saying that will, but
Sure.
Now CryptiK has a path to a Phoenix, which means that there's an easier path to the Titan should this game go late, even if they're on their heels for the next 15, 20 minutes.
Well, as you highlighted, right, because of that play that Mast made, and because Spacestation followed up, they got a couple kills. They got the kill on Zearoe, the kill on BennyQ, and they certainly made that one even trade. Now they're in position to be around this enhanced Fire Giant, and CryptiK really can't afford to come out and defend this, so this should belong to Spacestation quite cleanly, which means we can now transition to the sieging phase of this game. It's a phase that I don't know, how well can CryptiK really defend from this spot? They've got a lot of good tools. How do you see this going?
They don't have great wave clear, but they've got great team fight.
Yes.
I mean, Typhoon, Recall Demons, Earth and Fury, all of these are great AoE team fight ultimates that CryptiK are going to have a good time using, I'd imagine, but I don't know that they have the burst damage to insta-kill Mask on the blink in order to CC him and kill him before he can get that ultimate off. It's a hard task already. It basically needs to be Sops leading with Supernova directly on top of him and hoping that you kill him in that midst of that knockup, which is very, very small. What I'm saying is it's going to be very hard.
It's not going to be easy for him. A very small window that Mask is going to leave open for them. He blinks directly onto Cope, even follows up with a leap as well, and Cope now in some trouble. He doesn't even have to use the ultimate. He just finds the reset. In fact, he finds 2 more. Mask deletes them. It's only Sops and Mineral left standing. There's the late game Kali we were looking for. Destruction absolutely was used, and now with the mid Phoenix down, right Phoenix soon to follow, Spacestation have every chance to win this game. It's just Sops and Mineral to defend.
Good luck to them, because there is 5 healthy enough members of Spacestation all over this Titan. A Merlin and a Kali 29 minutes in. Yeah, right. Spacestation claim game 2. And now have a chance to get their first set victory. We said it would only make sense if Armada get their first loss and Spacestation go get their first win. There's a chance.
There is absolutely a chance. And what do I always say? It feels like when Plan A works, Spacestation look hard to beat.
Yeah.
And I gotta think that Kali was Plan A. And it absolutely worked for him in that game. They never had an answer. Yeah, once she gets offline, it's hard to stop.
Every plan A for the rest of the year for Spacestation Gold should be Mask wins us the game.
Yes.
That's just how it should be. Mask was one of the best, if not the best jungler in North America last year.
Yes.
I mean, the dude's still a monster. Give him the ball. Give him the ball.
That's right.
Ask him who he wants to set the pick. You know, if anyone who he wants to inbound the ball. You can give, role players can be very important, and you got to make sure they're in the right spots, of course. But when the clock's ticking, give Mask the ball.
That's right. If the Cavs lost and LeBron didn't take the final shot.
Like if J.R. Smith, if he just dribbled it out, or had the ball
and never
shot it for whatever reason, because there is no excusable reason for that, that would be really bad. Yeah,
that's a
really
J.R. Smith quality play. Let's get over to a J.R. Smith quality desk for them to break it down.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for the high praise. JR the star. J.R. Swish, one of the legends of the National Basketball Association, and I raise a toast to him. Thank you, John, for your kind words. And as we reflect on game number 2, well, it was all JR here for SSGG.
I don't know if I'd want to call Mask J.R. Smith for this team, but he certainly was, I think, the dominating proponent here for Space Station Gold. And I doubt that without this Kali performance, Space Station would have been able to close out in the same manner. But it really is crazy to think that Maz getting a few resets in team fights could just so drastically shift the outcome.
I mean, it sounds like that, but twofold. One, Kali is absolutely that character, and Mask is absolutely that jungler. Ryan wasn't being nice for the sake of being nice. He really was that damn good last year. We were talking about him potentially being the best jungler in the world, and here he is playing in the minor league. He's going to do things like, okay, that.
It's the jump.
Yeah.
Nope, turn around first, into the blades. No, it was the jump. Okay, psyched myself out there on that one. But, and all jokes aside, I just think that this Kali might have even caught CryptiK off guard, because Mask is yet to bring out the Kali up until today, and seeing him pilot it, so I don't want to call it effortlessly, because I definitely think that CryptiK were doing a great job at trying to group on top of each other, but we just had this discussion in the last set, even when we were watching Armada versus Sanguine, where Kali is one of those gods. You can't really afford to stray too far from your team on the retreat, but you also have to be careful whenever you're standing right on top of each other, because she can still get that auto attack spam going and oftentimes manage to find her target, and Mask getting some really crucial resets that helped stretch the team fights a little bit longer than what CryptiK were probably initially intending.
25,000 on the player damage charts here, and Mask just continuing to do really what he was picked up to do. Domination coming out from him in the jungle role, and the team kind of falling beside him as well, just kind of lining everything up. This was a Space Station Gold win, don't get me wrong, but Mask was in the driver's seat, and I think that when we look at Space Station Gaming Gold, I want to kind of see very similar stuff to what we see out of Johnny and those guys on Flashpoint, where it's very much listen to the team, but Mask is, like Ryan said, give him the ball, give him the tools, let him be the man.
I think Chapo had his fair fun, or his own fair bit of fun on the Merlin. I really liked how Chapo was able to kind of utilize this Merlin, try and apply some slows to give Mask better chances of chasing.
Sure.
It really did seem like Chapo was trying to intend this to be a little bit more utility-based to better assist his jungler. So one of the main woes we kept talking about for this Space Station team is their comms look to be all over the place. You can just tell by the fact that they'll win team fights and then not be sure where to run to next. That seems a little bit more smooth out this week.
Well, it certainly looks like it.